Ever scrolled through the news and just like slammed on the brakes because something just didn't add up? That's me, prepping for this deep dive and this story out of Jamaica. Oh boy, it's got everything. Political drama, accusations flying every which way, and a whole lot of head scratching. How is that even possible? Moments. So strap in, because we're about to unpack a case in Jamaican Parliament that'll make you wonder, do these people even oversight?
Yeah.
All right, so at the center of this whole thing, you've got Everald Warmington, a veteran member of their parliament, right? Picture this. He's on the floor giving this whole fiery speech about how the Integrity Commission, the IC, has never, ever been audited. And he is not happy about it. Warmington's basically saying, not another penny until we get some transparency up in here.
Hmm.
Now, on the
Yeah.
surface, that doesn't sound so unreasonable, does it?
On the face of it, no, not at all. Accountability is essential, especially when you're talking about a government body tasked with ensuring ethical conduct.
Exactly. But then the IC heads back with their own statement. And let me tell you, it throws Warmington's whole narrative right out the window. They're claiming they undergo these yearly audits, totally standard procedure. And get this, Warmington himself, he's on the very committee that gets these audit reports. Yeah, you heard that right. Talk about awkward. So now everyone's scratching their heads. Did he just not know? Was this some kind of power play? We're about to find out. Okay, let's rewind for a second and break down the facts as they were presented in the news. We know Warmington was really laying down the law, demanding those audits, even going as far as threatening to withhold funding. And to be fair, the finance minister seemed to be on board with the whole financial scrutiny thing, saying public funds need careful oversight. Seems pretty straightforward so far, right?
It seems like a standard push for transparency. Nothing particularly out of the ordinary for a government budget debate.
Right, until the IC drops their bombshell. Not only are they audited every year by this independent firm, SFAI Jamaica, but they also point out, very pointedly I might add, Warmington's very prominent position on the Oversight Committee. The committee, might I remind you, that gets these reports annually. They even went so far as to quote the auditor's statement, which basically boils down to SFAI Jamaica looked at the books and everything seems to be on the up and up.
That's the crux of it, isn't it? That independent auditor statement carries a lot of weight. It's all about establishing trust and transparency, which, as we've said, are essential for an organization like the Integrity Commission.
It's the independent auditor part that really throws me for a loop.
It does make you wonder about the disconnect here.
Right, because we're not talking about some rookie mistake. Warmington, he's been a fixture on this committee for ages. And it's not just him. The news report, it mentioned that all 63 members of the House get a copy of this audit report. So were they all snoozing during those briefings? What's the deal here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's hard to say without having all the information, but it does leave us with some pretty big question marks.
Okay, so let's play devil's advocate for a second. Let's say, hypothetically, Warmington just completely missed this whole audit thing year after year. What does that say about, well, everything?
Well, for starters, it raises concerns about his grasp of the fundamentals.
You're being awfully diplomatic.
I'm trying to be charitable. But yes, if a seasoned politician isn't aware of these basic financial reports, it does make you wonder about their attention to detail, their understanding of their role.
It's a bit unsettling when you put it that way. I mean, this is a guy tasked with ensuring accountability. If he's not even aware of the reports, how can he possibly do his job?
It erodes trust, doesn't it? Not just in him, but in the entire system.
It does make you wonder what else might be slipping through the cracks. Okay, but let's flip the script for a moment. What if this wasn't just an oversight? What if this was, I don't know, a strategy?
Now we're getting into the realm of political maneuvering.
Right, because it's not outside the realm of possibility, is it?
Not at all. Politicians have been known to employ various tactics to achieve their goals.
So, was he trying to publicly discredit the IC, maybe put some pressure on them, influence their investigations?
These are all valid questions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to remember there's often more at play than meets the eye.
It's a good reminder that we can't always take things at face value.
Exactly. This case highlights a very real phenomenon: conflicting information. We encounter it all the time, in news, on social media, even in our personal lives.
It's like everyone has their own version of the truth.
And it's our responsibility to navigate that landscape carefully.
To be critical thinkers, right?
Precisely.
And it's so easy to just get swept up in whatever narrative confirms our own biases,
It's human nature, really. We gravitate towards information that reinforces what we already believe.
Which is exactly why we need to be extra vigilant. It's like we all need to become information detectives or something.
I like that analogy.
Right. We've got to be asking the tough questions. Who's saying this? What's their angle? And most importantly, where's the proof?
You're spot on. It's about looking for credible sources, considering potential biases, understanding that things are rarely black and white.
It all boils down to that classic saying, trust but verify.
Couldn't agree more. Especially when it comes to government and those in power, accountability hinges on our active participation.
So we've unpacked this whole Jamaican political puzzle, but what's the takeaway for our listeners? What can they learn from this, even if they're not exactly experts on Jamaican politics?
It's a reminder that we all have a role to play in creating a system that values transparency and accountability. We need to stay informed, ask those tough questions, and hold our leaders responsible for their actions.
And maybe, just maybe, if we all start asking those questions, demanding better, we can start building a world that's a little more informed, a little more accountable, and a lot more trustworthy. So until next time, keep those detective hats on, keep asking questions, and remember, the truth is out there. It might take some digging, but it's always worth the effort.